base to tie the Alabama school mark with assists in a ball game with those 4-3 putouts. First pitch to Callie Herod is in there for a called strike one, and we are underway at straight up 6:30 here in Tuscaloosa.
Well, like I said in the intro, Tom, we're going to learn a lot tonight about Madison Preston. Previous 3 starts, Penn State, Mississippi Valley State, and I neglected to mention Georgia State. Big step up.
The 0-1 is a ground ball to short. Booker has it, makes a throw over just in time by a half step to get Herod for out number 1. Nice play there by Booker. Knew she had to hurry with the speedy Herod on the base pass and got it done.
And clearly, I think we put it to bed last night, but clearly Booker not bothered at all by that ankle. A really well-moved play by the senior, and a good throw to get it over to first in time to get Herod.
That brings up third baseman Jessie Warren, and the first pitch is waved at and missed for strike one as she was fooled by that off-speed pitch outside. No balls and 1 strike.
Warren easily the biggest offensive threat for Florida State in terms of power. 6 home runs, 21 RBI for Warren, the senior. So potent.
The 0-1 pitch right in there for a called strike. No balls and 2 strikes now on Warren. In the field for Alabama, Gabby Calloway in left, Alyssa Brown in center, Kaylee Tao in right, Peyton Grantham at third, Sydney Booker at short, Demi Turner at second, Bailey Hemphill at first, Reagan Dykes behind the plate. Catching Madison Preston, and Claire Jenkins is in the order as the designated player. The 0-2, low and away, 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Warren. Yesterday's matchup, Warren was 0 for 2 with a walk. Alexis Osorio held the Seminoles to just 3 hits yesterday. The 1-2, a little bit high, and the count is even up, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Madison Preston is such a different style pitcher compared to Alexis Osorio. I just have a feeling, Tom, we're going to need to hold on for dear life in this game. It's going to be a wild ride. Alabama's going to go after an All-American pitcher and Megan King, and Florida State's going to go after this young freshman.
2-2 is a one-hopper back to Preston. She makes the stop in the circle, the throw over in time, and there's 2 away.
Preston did such a great job reacting to that hit. So many times you see pitchers not react quick enough when balls are hit in their direction, but Preston reached up the glove, got it off the one hop and threw to first well in time to get the out. Good start for her in the circle. Not much pressure put on her quite yet.
That brings up the second baseman, the lefty, Sydney Sherrill. First pitch inside for ball 1. Umpires for today's ball game, Greg Meyer behind the plate, I should say. Steve Gold at first, and Mike Hensley, the third base umpire. The 1-0, rounded foul. Count moves to 1 ball, 1 strike. On the year, Sherrill batting .425. 17 of 40 with 8 runs scored, 7 doubles, a home run, and 8 runs batted in. Yesterday was 1 for 3, had one of the 3 hits for the Seminoles.
And just a freshman, too, having a great start to her Seminole career.
The 1-1 hits the outside corner, a ball and 2 strikes. This is the 10th meeting all-time between these two programs. Alabama leads the all-time series 6-3. The 1-2 is spoiled foul. And Preston thought that she would have gotten the strikeout there, but Sherrill did a good job of getting a piece and staying alive, a ball and 2 strikes.
And the crowd is doing a great job staying behind Madison Preston, too. They know how big of a start this is, how big of a stage this is for her, really the first time in this moment in her Alabama career, and they have been behind her after every pitch so far in this game.
The 1-2 is inside in the dirt. Count is even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And again, props to the Alabama crowd. We have a pretty good number here watching a game that was supposed to start 2.5 hours ago. Very impressive, especially considering, like we said in the last broadcast, all that's going on campus right now.
Another 2-2 on the way, and that's a ground ball to first. Bailey Hemphill corrals it, steps on the bag, and retires the side. A 1-2-3 inning for Florida State here in the top of the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left. We move to the home half of the first. It's Florida State nothing. Alabama coming to bat here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa. Alabama and Florida State. The Seminoles go down 1-2-3 in their half of the first. And here's the Southern Ale House starting lineup for the 10th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, entering today's game with a record of 9-1, 3-0 so far here in the Easton Bama Bash. Alyssa Brown will play center field and lead off. Batting second is Demi Turner, the second baseman. Batting third, the third baseman, Peyton Grantham. Bailey Hemphill will bat fourth and play first. Kaylee Tao, the right fielder, bats fifth. Claire Jenkins, designated player, batting sixth. Gabby Calloway, the left fielder, will bat seventh. Reagan Dykes will catch and bat eighth. The first pitch to Alyssa Brown is in there for a called strike one. Sydney Booker, the shortstop, bats ninth. And they face in the circle for Florida State, left-handed junior from Parkland, Florida, Megan King. The 0-1. Again, hits the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. On the year, King, a 1.02 ERA and a 5-2 record, making her 9th appearance and 8th start. She has 3 complete games. That ball is just foul down the third base line. That would have been extra bases for Brown, but she steps back in with an 0-2 count. 34 and a third innings pitched by King on the year. 16 hits, 6 runs, 5 of those earned. She's walked 8, struck out 32. Opponents batting 139 against King on the year. She was a part of a no-hitter thrown against UNI. The 0-2 is fouled off. We'll do it again. No balls and 2 strikes.
King, a 2017 All-ACC first-team member. Location is her prime talent. She can throw it anywhere in the strike zone. Sometimes her curveball does hang, though. That's a pitch Alabama has to capitalize on.
The 0-2 is a liner right back up the middle, but moving over is the second baseman, Cheryl, and she makes the throw in time to get Brown for out number 1. And Melissa's hit the ball as hard today as I've seen her probably in her 1+ seasons at Alabama.
And Alyssa, even though that one was recorded as an out, was really excited running off the field. She high-fived Allison Habits, who's in the first base coaching box. She saw something she really liked in that at-bat. Interested to see what she does the next time she's up at the plate.
So Demi Turner will now step in. The junior from Huntsville, Texas, fouls the first pitch back for strike 1. Turner batting a robust .556, 5 of 9 with 2 runs scored, a double, a triple, and 1 RBI on the year. And back in the groove as the starting second baseman after missing the majority of the first 2 weeks with a toe injury. The 0-1 is lined to second on 1 hop, and Cheryl makes the stop in the throw for out number 2. And Turner, as happy as Brown was, Turner was frustrated with herself as she got to first base because she had the pitch. It hung up on her, but she didn't quite drive it as much as she wanted.
Yeah, it was an off-speed curve that you're right, Tom. It hung up, and Demi recognized it, but not early enough and couldn't get enough on it, and an easy out for Florida State.
Peyton Grantham steps in, takes the first pitch for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes on the 5th-year senior Peyton Grantham celebrating her senior day. The 1-0. Swing and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike. 70 degrees at first pitch. Scattered showers still in the forecast for the rest of the evening, so hopefully we can get this in. It's quite humid. The 1-1 comes high and tight. 2 balls and 1 strike. Dimensions of the ballpark here at the Rhodes House, 200 down the line, 220 to straightaway center field. 6-foot wall all the way around in the outfield. The 2-1 is a fly ball in foul ground on the left-hand side. Get out of play, it will. Count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And the crowd gives off a nervous murmur. That one very close to staying in play. Peyton Grantham's had some well-hit balls all weekend. Of course, the 2-run shot against Georgia State, well over the left field fence.
The 2-2 coming in, and Grantham waits on that one and lines it to first. So, again, Alabama recognizing that off-speed pitch by King, but hitting him right to the fielders to retire the side. So just as Florida State did, Alabama goes down in order in the bottom half of the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left. It moves to the top of the second. No score between Alabama and Florida State here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Apples, please, roses, candy, fruits, strawberry, raspberry, my shirt, her hat, cherries. Time's up. Let's see what Claire said. Apple, stop sign, the American flag, fire hydrant, fire truck, congratulations, Haley. You beat Claire. You did it.
We move to the top of the second inning. Nothing but zeros on the board as both teams go down in order. In the first, due up for Florida State, Carson Gordon, Cassidy Davis, and Morgan Claveman. 4-5-6 facing Madison Preston in the circle for Alabama. Tom Canterbury alongside Gray Robertson. And Gray, both pitchers really looking good in the first inning of play.
Absolutely, but the difference is Florida State didn't look like they had a handle on any of Madison Preston's pitches. Alabama looked very comfortable against Meghan King in the first.
First pitch on a check swing fouled off. Carson Gordon for strike one. Gordon, the right-handed hitting junior, batting .400, 16 of 40, 12 runs scored, 3 doubles, a triple, 4 home runs, and 12 RBIs. Was 0 for 2 with a walk yesterday. Bama's 3-0 win. The 0-1 is in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. Patrick Murphy, the head coach of the Crimson Tide, the associate head coach, Allison Habit, Stephanie Van Brakel, Prothrow, the pitching coach, Bryn Dordell, the volunteer assistant, Kate Harris, director of softball operations, Aaron Cohen, the athletic trainer. The 1-1 is a fly ball deep left field, and that's gone. Absolutely crushed to left field. Carson Gordon gets the Seminoles on the board. It's 1-0.
Well, that's the worry. I mean, ground ball pitchers allow contact. We saw that so much last year with Sidney Littlejohn. We saw that earlier this weekend with Georgia State against Alabama, collecting 8 hits against Madison Preston. The key now, it's just 1 run. Madison's got to collect herself. She's young. She's a freshman. She's never been in this position before. She needs to stay calm, get through the inning, and let the defense play behind her and let the offense score some runs and come back and win.
First earned run of the career given up by Madison Preston. And that brings up the designated player, Cassidy Davis. First pitch. Low and outside for ball 1. Davis, sophomore, .368 hitter, 7 of 19 with 5 runs scored. A double, 2 home runs, 6 runs batted in.
Saw her come in and pitch last night. Actually looked pretty good in the circle, and then FSU pulled her out for some reason.
The 1-0 is swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. At the plate was 1 for 3 in last night's shutout victory for the Crimson Tide. Finishing off the sports staff for Alabama, Nathan Sheehan, the sports information director, Scott Moyer, video director, Hunter King, the assistant video director, as that ball is in there for a called strike. A ball and 2 strikes now on Cassidy Davis. Florida State, their head coach is Lonni Alameda in her 10th season. Assistant coaches are Travis Wilson, Craig Snyder, and the volunteer assistant is Kendra Lynch. The 1-2 hits the outside corner for a called strike 3, and a great job by Preston coming right back, giving up the solo home run, but getting them the strikeout right after. There's 1 away.
Just her 12th strikeout of the season. Drop ball pitchers typically do not throw a lot of those, but Preston doing a nice job painting the corners, and talk about a response. After giving up a solo shot to come back and strike out one of Florida State's better hitters on 4 pitches, really well done.
Morgan Claveman steps in and lays down a nice bunt down the first base line. Hemphill made an excellent play to make that as close as it was, but beating it out is Claveman, an infield single here with 1 away in the second.
Claveman laid down one of the most beautiful bunts I think I've ever seen. It went right down the right line and just stopped. It spun just a little bit and stopped, and Hemphill, like you said, Tom, did a great job charging in to even have a chance to make a play, but just not enough time there.
Elizabeth Mason steps in, the right fielder, takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Florida State wearing baseball-style uniforms today, the white vest shirt with Chief Osceola's logo. The maroon undershirt. The 1-0. Outside, 2 balls and no strikes.
I wouldn't have minded if Florida State had brought Chief Osceola with them. That's one of the better traditions in college football. I mean, that'd be cool if he's hanging out in the bullpen over on the right. The flaming spear.
2-0 is fouled back on a hit and run. Count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. So the white pants with the maroon pinstripes, maroon socks for the Seminoles. Alabama still in their crimson over white uniforms, crimson jerseys, white pants, crimson socks.
And on that play, Tom, on that play, Claveman was going. She's got the speed of Alyssa Brown, 7 for 7 on stolen bases this year. Got to watch out for that.
The 2-1 pitch is in the dirt. The ball gets away momentarily. Reagan Dykes with a strike, and she is out trying to get to second. Is Claveman. She hesitated just a moment, just a half step, and then decided to take off to second, and that's the wrong decision against Reagan Dykes.
Absolutely. Get the cannon out once again. The ball squirting away from Reagan Dykes, but keeping her wits about her, grabbing it and throwing to second. I almost think maybe she dropped the ball on purpose to entice Claveman to go for the extra bag, but whatever happened, it's another excellent throw from behind the plate to second to tag a stealer by Reagan Dykes.
The 3-1 pitch is a ground ball, and it's off of Preston's glove, and Demi Turner tries to glove it over to Bailey Hemphill to shovel it up with her glove hand, but not in time as Mason gets on. Hard luck there as Preston probably, if you have it to do over again, just let that go and let Demi Turner handle it.
Yeah, but she's eager. She's a freshman. She wants to make a play. She's done that a couple times this weekend, once earlier in this game.
Went for the backhand and just couldn't quite control it.
I mean, she was out of position, but got to applaud at least her going for it. A lot of pitchers wouldn't even do that.
That will bring up Anna Shellnut, the catcher, as that will go down as an E1, allowing the runner to get to first. Shellnut on the year, sophomore, batting .276, 8 of 29, 3 runs scored, a double, a home run, 6 runs batted in. That ball just misses on the just past the outside edge. 2 balls and no strikes. Shellnut was 0 for 2 before being replaced defensively last night's game. The 2-0 is grounded foul at the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike. Florida State with an early 1-0 lead here in the top of the second inning. A solo home run by Carson Gordon. A lone hit, or excuse me, 2 hits for the Seminoles. Preston trying to limit the damage here. The 2-1 is a fly ball to right field. On the run, but unable to come up with it, is both Tao and Demi Turner. So it will fall foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Tonight we're going to see a different task for Alabama compared to last night. Last night it was all about scoring and then keeping the lead and finding a way to manufacture insurance runs. Now we're going to see the same mission that was put out for Alabama against Baylor. They're down early. They've got to figure out a way to come back, to tie, and to eventually take the lead. They couldn't do it against the Bears. This is just as good a team in Florida State. They certainly can't have any lapses of concentration tonight.
The 2-2 is a fly ball to center, and ranging over to her right is Alyssa Brown for out number 3. Well hit ball by Shellnut, but right at Brown to retire the side. For Florida State, here in the second inning, they get 1 run on 2 hits. There was 1 Alabama error and 1 runner left on base. We move to the bottom of the second. Florida State 1, Alabama nothing, here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Alabama trails Florida State 1-0. Due up for the Crimson Tide, Hemphill, Tao, and Jenkins, 4-5-6, facing Meghan King in the circle for Florida State. And Gray, getting the 1-2-3 inning, did King in the bottom half of the first, but Alabama hit the ball pretty hard.
Yeah, she threw a lot of off-speed pitches, an off-speed curve that occasionally hangs. I saw that in the film, especially against Michigan, and it's coming out tonight, and Alabama had some chances to drive them, but the batters in the first inning recognized that pitch a little bit too late to make a play on it. But they've all talked. They've had that conversation in the dugout, and I'm sure Bailey Hemphill will be looking for that pitch to drive once King throws it.
So the sophomore from Lafayette, Louisiana, steps in. The first pitch misses inside for ball one. Hemphill on the year, 292, 7 of 24 with 4 runs scored, 2 doubles, and 10 runs batted in. Now tied for the team lead in the RBI department. The 1-0, grounded foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. Hemphill came alive at the plate last ball game against Northern Iowa earlier today. Was 2 for 4 with 4 runs batted in and 1 run scored. Last night against Florida State, Hemphill was 0 for 2 with an RBI. The 1-1 is right in there for a called strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Hemphill, and that mentioned it last game as well for Bailey. Seems like part of her issue so far this year has just been pitch recognition. She's letting a lot of pitches that are right down the middle go by. The 1-2 is a fly ball to deep right field. That ball's way back and it's off the wall. And the right fielder, Mason, has trouble with it, but coming in with an early stand-up double is Bailey Hemphill, and the Tide is in business here in the bottom of the second.
Boy, how close does Bailey Hemphill have to get before she hits a home run? I mean, that thing hitting right in the middle of the fence, and it looked great, and it was another hanging curveball. Not as slow as some of the ones we saw in the first inning, but Hemphill recognized it and drove it, and that's 2 straight doubles in 2 straight games. She really looks like a different player from yesterday.
Kylee Tao steps in and fouls the first pitch out of play. 4 strike 1. Yeah, that ball hit right on Jacqueline Chaina's shoulder, basically in the right center field gap. Just a couple of feet away from getting a home run there. But Alabama now looking to knot this game up, if not more. The 0-1 to Tao is outside. 4 ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike for the freshman from Madisonville, Kentucky, Kylee Tao. On the year, batting .320, 8 of 25, 9 runs scored, a double, 2 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs. As that pitch hits the outside corner, a ball and 2 strikes. 7 runs batted in for Tao on the year. Yesterday against Florida State, struggled a bit at the plate, went 0 for 3. Was 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored against UNI. 1-2 is outside on a check swing. She did not go, says Mike Hensley at third base, and the count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Tom, I will note the wind only getting stronger. It is really whipping. The American flag and the 2012 National Championship flag are going pretty hard right now. Could help these power hitters on both sides as the game progresses.
Quick meeting in the entire circle with the entire infield for Florida State. In the field for the Seminoles, Cassis in left, Claveman in center, Mason in right, Warren at third, Harrod at short, Sherrill at second, Gordon at first, and Shelnutt behind the plate. That pitch comes in high. And they'll throw back behind Hemphill at second, but she's back in plenty of time, and the count is full now to Kylee Tao.
Well, big moment here for Tao. I talked in the last game how last night against Florida State she never looked comfortable, fanned on a couple strikeouts.
That ball is grounded to second. She makes the stop, does the second baseman. The throw over from Sherrill to Gordon is in time to get Tao. It does move the runner over to third, so a successful out there. As lots of high fives for Kylee Tao as she comes in, and that was actually a really good play by Sherrill to keep that from being a base hit.
And if I'm Florida State, I'm very nervous right now because Alabama has not had a single ball hit in play that wasn't hit solidly. Everyone is seeing Meghan King really well. They're talking with each other, getting tips, and now Claire Jenkins up. She's one of the hottest hitters on this team.
First pitch to the sophomore from Coleman, Alabama is in there for a called strike. Jenkins, the designated player in this ball game. Batting .545, 6 of 11, 8 runs scored. A double, 2 home runs, 8 runs batted in. The 0-1, too far inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Earlier today against the Panthers of Northern Iowa, Jenkins was 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored and a run batted in. Also had a walk. Did not play yesterday.
As regular listeners know, I've been heavily...
The 1-1 to Jenkins is popped up to deep short, and making the catch a couple of feet onto the grass for out number 2 is Herod.
I've been heavily campaigning for Claire to get as many starts as possible after how well she's been hitting the ball, and that time just getting a bit too under it. I can tell she's very eager, and really one of the first ones that wasn't hit squarely on the bat against Meghan King tonight.
That will bring up now Gabby Calloway for her first at-bat of the ball game. First pitch coming in, and that one's fouled back at the plate. 4 strike 1, Gabby Calloway, the left fielder. Sophomore from San Diego, batting .391, 9 of 23, 7 runs scored, 3 doubles, a triple, 9 runs batted in on the year. Trying to get her 10th right here with a runner at third, but now 2 away.
And here's the first test. You got a runner at third, 2 outs.
The 0-1 is fouled off into the Bama bullpen, and quickly Callaway's in the 0-2 hole.
And against Baylor, 2 opportunities with this kind of situation, once in the 6th with the runner on third, once in the 7th with the runner on second and third, and Alabama couldn't cash in. Same task, down against Florida State, need a big hit.
2-2 is lifted to third, and underneath it making the catch in foul ground is the third baseman Warren for out number 3. So Alabama threatens to tie things up here in the bottom of the 2nd, but strands a runner on third as the side is retired for the Crimson Tide. No runs on a hit, no errors, 1 runner left on base. We played 2. Florida State holds on to their 1-0 lead over Alabama here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. We move to the top of the 3rd inning. Florida State with a 1-0 lead over Alabama. A run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on for the Noles. For the Crimson Tide, no runs on a hit, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base. Take you through the 3rd inning. Turn things over to Gray Robertson.
Thanks, Tom. We'll try and work some 3rd inning magic as Madison Preston returns to the circle. 2 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 1 run. It was earned, and it was a solo shot by Carson Gordon in the previous inning. Zoe Cassis in the 9-hole at the plate to start off, and she hits it right off the bat to Madison Preston, who fires it over Bailey Hemphill for out number 1.
It's the second 1-3 put out of the ball game by Preston, first time through the order, and had another one that went off of her glove. So they're hitting it, but they're hitting it on the ground right to Preston for the most part.
And that's exactly what Patrick Murphy wanted when he started Madison Preston tonight. A lot of us thought it would be Courtney Gittens tonight against the Seminoles, but Coach Murphy trusting the scouting report on the Seminoles as Callie Herod stands in against Madison Preston. Herod grounded out her first time up, as most Seminoles have this evening.
Yeah, I mean, outside of just basically 1 hanging pitch to Carson Gordon, Madison Preston's pitched well of the game first time through the order.
Second pitch is swung on and missed. The first one was a ball, so the count moves to 1-1. Florida State leading 1-0 against Alabama. 1 away here, top of the 3rd. Rhodes Stadium. It's been a long day here, but a lot of the Alabama fans have hung around for this top 10 matchup, and rightfully so. Should be a classic as Preston winds up, and the 1-1 is low. 2-1 now.
Throughout the day, we'll give you Cook's Pest Control scoreboard updates. Cook's Pest Control and the Centricon system, the unbeatable combination for termite protection. Busy day on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Elsewhere, Bama baseball tied with an 8-3 lead over Washington, looking to complete the sweep.
2-1 pitch from Preston finds the outside. Oh, no. No, they're going to call the ball. I thought I heard home plate umpire Greg Muir give the strike call, but no dice for Preston, and the count is 3-1.
Bama basketball, Coleman Coliseum, 53 seconds remaining, and Arkansas has a 71-66 lead over the Tide.
And that 3-1 pitch comes in and hits the exact same spot, and it's called a strike. The count is now full.
Alabama going to have a miraculous comeback here in the final minute to avoid what we've talked about would be a very tough loss.
Payoff pitch for Preston. And it's hit over in the direction of Sydney Booker, who was deep enough. Throw to first is in time, and Callie Harrod is retired for out number 2 here in the top of the third.
Good job by Preston to stick with the game plan, to continue to battle with Harrod, not give in, and force her to hit her pitch. And ground ball to short. Another ground out by the Noles.
And Jessie Warren, another player who grounded out, comes in now, one of the better power hitters in the ACC, certainly the best on this team. She stands in as Preston's first pitch comes in high and tight for ball 1.
This is the second game of 2 for Alabama, the first game of 2 for Florida State. They are scheduled to have the nightcap against Georgia State. That was supposed to be a 6 o'clock start. It's just after 7, so later night for the Seminoles today.
Those poor teams. Here's the 1-0, and that one a bit too far outside by a touch or so, and the count is 2-0. Yeah, Georgia State with the first game today. They've had a long wait all afternoon. I hope wherever they're staying has something to do. I don't know.
Or if they were bored all day, that may work out better for Alabama.
Yeah.
So, no.
That's what Netflix is for, as this hit is skied in the direction of Tao, and it's over her head. Wow. That was just a skyrocket from Jessie Warren. That was almost unexpected. Kaylee Tao kept ranging back, and Jessie Warren's ball kept going until it went over the head of Kaylee Tao in right, and Florida State has 3 hits and 2 runs and 2 solo shots tonight. The Noles lead 2-0.
That's been the issue with a team that can hit it as hard and powerful as Florida State does. If you make a mistake, they will make you pay. And really the 2 big mistakes that Preston has made here so far in the game, Florida State has took them over the fence.
I almost can't believe how high that Warren shot was. I thought eventually it would come down in Tao's mitt, but Madison Preston has to move on, and she'll do so against Sydney Sherrill. And the first pitch to Sherrill is a bit too far inside for ball 1.
Well, this makes it even more imperative, obviously, for the Alabama offense to answer back and to capitalize on their opportunities to score runs.
1-0 pitch to Sherrill is, again, too far inside. Bama fans growing uneasy with the strike zone. Count is 2-0 now. 2 away, Florida State leading 2-0. Noles have 3 hits, Alabama has 1. And the Crimson Tide will need to put up a few runs, almost exactly like the Baylor game last weekend now, as the 2-0 pitch comes in and is fouled off, 2-1.
The schedule for tomorrow, the final day of the Easton Bama Bash, 11 o'clock is the scheduled first pitch between these Florida State Seminoles, so they got to turn right back around tomorrow with an early start to take on Northern Iowa, then Alabama and Georgia State in the finale at 1:30. 1:20 will be the airtime here on the network.
Here's the 2-1, and that one a bit low and inside. 3-1 now.
That's all weather permitting, of course.
Of course. As has been the theme of the weekend. Preston getting a sign from Stephanie Van Brakel pro throw, and now standing in. Here's the 3-1 with 2 away, and that one in the dirt. Preston did not look too poised in that at-bat as Sherrill is walked, and Florida State's got a man aboard.
First walk of the ball game issued by Preston. Now Carson Gordon steps in, and she crushed the ball to left field her first time up over the fence.
Got to wonder how Stephanie Van Brakel pro throw will approach this at-bat. How do you pitch to Gordon, who roped one over the left field fence last time up? First pitch to her. Hits the outside corner for strike 1.
SEC teams in action currently underway as we continue Cook's Pest Control scoreboard update. Florida with no problem against Iowa State, 8-0, top of the 5th inning there.
Preston winding. Here's the 0-1. This one in the dirt, and Dykes does a nice job getting behind it. Count moves to 1-1.
Kentucky with a 5-3 lead over Harvard. The Crimson had a 3-1 lead in the 4th inning before Kentucky scored 4 in the bottom of the 4th. Tennessee up on Northwestern 6-1 in the bottom of the 6th.
Good day for Tennessee softball as Preston fires in the 1-1. It is low, 2-1 now.
Just underway, Mississippi State and San Jose State, no score in the 1st. Same thing with Bethune-Cookman and Missouri. We have some finals, obviously, today as well.
Preston firing. Here's the 2-1. It's low again. That's now 7 balls out of the last 9 pitches for Madison Preston. And the count is 3-1. Man aboard at first. 2 away here. Alabama trying to get out of the inning without any more pain inflicted. And Gordon ropes this one to Kylee Tao, and she makes the catch in right field for out number 3. But a hit for Florida State, and it's one of the deadly kinds, as a solo shot over right field by Jessie Warren increases the Seminoles' lead. It's 2-0 Florida State over Alabama here in Rhodes Stadium as we head to the bottom of the 3rd on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome back to Rhodes Stadium. We head to the bottom of the 3rd. Florida State increasing their lead to 2-0 in the top half. Due up for Alabama, Reagan Dykes, Sydney Booker, and Alyssa Brown. Tom, Florida State doing what we feared as the first pitch to Reagan Dykes is fouled off to the right. And we'll get to Reagan Dykes' season stats in just a minute, but we know Madison Preston is a contact pitcher. She's a drop ball pitcher, and Florida State has been getting out via the ground ball a lot, but they've also had 2 pretty deadly hits.
Yeah, they've capitalized on the 2 mistakes Preston's thrown with 2 solo home runs.
0-1 pitch to Dykes is a bit outside. Wow, thought that was right down the middle, but it's not, and the count is 1-1. Reagan Dykes on the year batting .222, 4 hits on 18 at-bats, 1 homer, and 4 runs batted in, the junior. Here's the 1-1 pitch to her, and she fouls this off. Reagan Dykes, hailing from Collins, Mississippi, where we were last weekend. Pretty close anyway. And Dykes last night, one of the key reasons Alabama came away with the victory, 2 for 2 with an RBI and a walk. Also was pretty solid behind the plate as well.
0 for 3 against UNI earlier today.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Reagan, and that one's too high. Count moves to 2-2.
She already has caught one Florida State would-be advancer with the rocket arm behind the plate.
And Dykes will try and get a hit here. Here's a 2-2 pitch, and she fouls it straight back. You know what they say, that's a good sign. Count will remain 2-2.
Looked like that ball got in a little bit closer than it looked like it was going to there by Reagan. Got it off the hands, but as you mentioned, right back. So hopefully she's got the timing down.
Alabama's had some really good looks at Megan King. Dykes' turn now. Here's a 2-2, and it's low. Count goes full.
Finals from conference teams in action today. Arkansas beat Delaware 10-1. Missouri over Wisconsin 7-3. South Carolina 12-0 over Miami, Ohio. Washington beat Texas A&M in 9 innings, 4-3.
Payoff pitch to Dykes, and she fouls this one off, and the count will remain full.
The other top 10 matchup between an SEC team and somebody else here today. There was that A&M loss to Washington. Arkansas 9-0 over Villanova. Florida 12-0 over Maryland. Tennessee over Oregon, as you mentioned, 1-0. Kentucky beat Bradley 11-6. Georgia over Charleston 6-0. Auburn beat Oregon State 10-7.
Another payoff pitch, another foul straight back, and the count will stay full. Good at-bat here by Dykes.
1-0 South Carolina over South Alabama. LSU beat Fresno State 10-2, and Georgia over East Tennessee State 7-0.
Two of the wins I want to highlight there. Missouri beating Wisconsin, who beat Auburn yesterday, and South Carolina getting a good win over South Alabama. Can Alabama get a big at-bat here by Reagan Dykes? She hits it, and the second baseman is able to corral it as Cheryl fires to Gordon for out number 1. A hard hit ball by Reagan Dykes, but Cheryl was in a position to where she could slide over just in time to get the catcher at first.
And you see Gordon and Cheryl kind of having a quick word with each other after that one, as Gordon almost got herself turned around, didn't get back to the bag in time, but was able to get there to get Dykes by half a step.
And now Sydney Booker will stand in, and she fires the first pitch in the direction of right field. 3 Seminoles congregate, and right fielder Mason makes the catch for out number 2. Booker firing on the first pitch, but can't make anything of it, and they're 2 away. And now Alyssa Brown coming in, grounded out her first time up. Of course, she was a spark plug last night for Alabama, reaching base every time she came to the plate.
Now the second time through the order, see if the Bama batters can make a little bit of the adjustment to get these hard hit balls to fall for base hits.
Here's first pitch to Alyssa Brown, and it comes in for a strike, 0-1.
It's a final at Coleman, Arkansas, with a 76-73 win over Alabama, so a tough loss for the Crimson Tide.
Here's the 0-1 to Alyssa, and that one's low, 1-1. Boy, and considering the last 2 home games, a Florida team that can either make 23s or 1-3 in a game, and at A&M, not a good loss for Avery Johnson's team tonight. See if they can bounce back. Here's the 1-1 to Brown. That one's low. Count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike.
But a good result from the Joe. Your final score, Alabama 9, Washington State 3, as Alabama completes their second consecutive sweep to open up the 2018 campaign.
2-1 to Brown is in there for a strike. 2s across the board, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And unfortunately, the deficit also 2 for Alabama. We're here in the bottom of the 3rd. Florida State 2, Alabama nothing. Here's 2-2 to Alyssa Brown, and she hits us in the direction of a shortstop. He'll try and beat it out, and she will not. Miss it by half a step, and the side is retired. Megan King gets Alabama in order, and we head to the top of the 4th. Florida State coming to the plate, leading 2-0 over Alabama on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the Easton Bama Bash, Day 2. Alabama and Florida State, the second time these 2 teams have met. And the Seminoles, behind 2 solo home runs, 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, have a 2-0 lead on the Alabama Crimson Tide. And for the remainder of the game, we're going to turn to Tom Canterbury, who will hopefully aid our comeback efforts.
I'd say it was a Not the usual third inning magic for us here today. First pitch from Madison Preston to Cassie Davis is fouled back. 4 strike 1. Davis, Claveman, and Mason, 5, 6, 7 due up, facing Madison Preston in the circle. Preston's gone 3 innings, giving up 3 hits, 2 runs. They've both been earned, 1 walk and 1 strikeout, 52 pitches and 29 strikes. Not a bad ball to strike ratio, but I'd say just the 2 mistakes that she's had, leaving hanging curveballs, have both been deposited over the fence by Carson Gordon and Jessie Warren. 2 solo shots, the difference in the ball game right here for Florida State.
And against a team like Florida State, who has potent hitters 1 through 9, you can't make any mistakes. And I know that's a lot to ask, but you can't. And when the pitcher does make mistakes, the offense has to pick her up. And neither has been happening so far in this game.
The 0-1 is grounded foul down the third baseline. No balls and 2 strikes. Still plenty of softball to be played. But the imperative thing now is for Alabama to keep the Seminoles where they are and give the Bats an opportunity. Alabama has had a runner to reach third after a Bailey Hemphill double. The 0-2 is high, 1 ball, 2 strikes, but has not been able to scratch a run across as of yet.
And certainly to Madison Preston's credit, she has done what Patrick Murphy talked about coming into the game. She's induced a lot of ground balls. Florida State has had some trouble, but the 2 mistakes she's made, they've capitalized on.
The 1-2 is a ground ball on 4 hops to short. Booker, the stop at the throw, gets Davis by a step, and there's 1 away.
And there it is again, Sydney Booker. And notice Sydney Booker's playing a lot deeper. That way, nothing can get behind her because she knows the contact is coming, but some of them are going to be hit pretty hard. That time it was more of a dribbler. She was able to come up and make the necessary play to get the out.
That will bring up Morgan Claveman, the center fielder. She singled in the second, but was thrown out trying to advance on a wild pitch. First pitch is in there for a called strike 1.
And notice the Alabama defense creeping in because of Claveman's perfect bunt that she laid down the first time and beat out to first. They don't want a similar situation happening a second time in a row.
The 0-1 is waved at a miss. No balls and 2 strikes, and that's an impossible pitch to try to slap at like Claveman did there. Low and inside, bearing in on her. Came up empty. It's an 0-2 count now.
And it had a lot of pace, too. When you think Madison Preston, you don't necessarily think speed of pitches, but that one blew by Claveman.
The 0-2 pitch will be grounded to short. Demi Turner makes a nice play. Throw over in time for out number 2. Turner had to move over to her right. Made a sliding stop and throw all in one motion. Great job there by Demi. And there's 2 away.
So are you a tennis fan, Tom?
Sure.
All right, so you know in the U.S. Open when players like Novak Djokovic and Rafa Nadal are sliding all around, getting to balls?
Right.
That's essentially what Demi Turner did right there. Slid her way over to get that ball. She was out of position because she crept in, but she was fast enough to get over there.
Elizabeth Mason, the right fielder, will foul that one off for strike 1. Mason's 0 for 1, reached on an error her first time up.
Demi Turner so fast on the base paths, and then you saw it there defensively. That's not an easy play to make. Not many people across America can do it. But luckily, Alabama has Demi Turner.
Healthy. The 0-1 is in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, that part is big, too.
When you went tennis, I thought you were going to say that was like Rafa Nadal in the French Open on the clay.
That's a good one. Hey, it's a long season, Tom. I'll pack that in my reference binder.
We'll get that in. The 1-1. Low and outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs, top of the 4th. Florida State with a 2-0 lead over Alabama. The Noles have out-hit the Tide 3-1. 1 error for the Crimson Tide, which did not come back to haunt. The 2-1 is grounded foul, evening things up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Mason is the one that reached on that error back in the second inning. Preston was trying to get to a ball, tried to backhand it. Instead, it deflected off her glove and bounced Demi Turner the wrong way. Preston, a lot more poise this at-bat.
The 2-2 is grounded back up the middle. Preston has it this time and will throw over to get Mason for out number 3. So a 1-2-3 inning for Madison Preston as she sits the Noles down in order, just what the doctor ordered here in the 4th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left. We move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Bama trails 2-0 here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Next, we ask you to vote on the song you want to hear during this inning for our Urban Cookhouse Sweep That Tune. Our winner is Pam Jones, and the winning song is Center Field. Thanks for voting on Twitter and follow @LSD. Not fans doing the free to make some noise for a teacher. Watch you like TUSCALOOSA.
We head to the home half of the 4th inning. Alabama trails Florida State 2-0. Due up for the Crimson Tide here in the home half of the 4th. Turner, Grantham, and Hemphill, 2-3-4. Facing Megan King in the circle for the Seminoles. She's gone 3 innings, giving up just the 1 hit, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts, 43 pitches and 31 strikes thrown by King so far. First pitch to Turner is in there for a called strike 1. Turner
count of 45 and 32 of those strikes. Now she has had a few curves hang and Alabama's gotten a hold of them, but not placed well.
That ball's fouled off. Off the netting over the Alabama dugout. The ball and 2 strikes. In between innings there, the PA announcer, David Birdsong, recognizing former Alabama players here in the crowd. First the 1-2. And Turner will one-hop that to short. Harrod makes the stop, and the throw is in time to get Turner by half step for out number 1. And just not able to get that ball away from the defenders at this point.
Yeah, and eventually a couple of them are going to find their way squirting past the Seminole defenders because, like I said, and like I've said since the first at-bat by Alyssa Brown, Alabama is getting a hold of King's pitches, just not hitting them in the right spot.
First pitch to Grantham is skied to center, but coming up, having to move just a couple of spots, is Claveman, and there's quickly 2 away.
And also, this brings back up a point that I haven't forgotten when Patrick Murphy mentioned it last year. You only have a certain number of at-bats in a softball game. The game can go mighty quickly, and Alabama, I mean, 2 up, 2 down with relative ease right here. If you go through this inning scoreless, you've only got 3 more chances and 9 more outs to play with.
Bailey Hemphill takes the first pitch for a called strike. Did not agree with the call there by Greg Meir behind the plate. No balls and 1 strike. Hemphill with a double in the second. Missed a home run by about 1.5 feet. Stranded on third, however. The 0-1, grounded foul down third baseline. No balls and 2 strikes. And not only would you go down quickly here in the 4th inning, it's the 2-3-4 batters as well. So it's the part of the lineup that you're really hoping is going to be able to produce, and nothing so far here in the 4th.
Exactly, and again, Alabama's gotten a hold of the pitches. I mean, they've had chances to drive, just haven't been able to avoid the defenders on Florida State's side.
The 0-2 rolls in there like a bowling ball. Count moves to 1-2.
I think maybe King wanted to participate in that one new game we've added here at Rhodes Stadium in between innings. Unfortunately, we already have a winner for that one. Somebody got a Nuke's gift card.
The 1-2 is popped up in foul ground. Will it get out of play? Yes, it will, on top of the Bama dugout. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. But mentioned that the recognition, former Alabama players watching today's ball game here at the Rhodes House. Jaden Spencer here with UNI, her sister pitching for the Panthers. Haley McClinney Chandler Dare, Leona Lafayette, all in the crowd here today. That ball's high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that's one thing about Peyton Grantham being a fifth-year senior, was in with a lot of those players as seniors last year. The 2-2 is fouled off. One of those crushed foul balls down the left field line by Bailey Hemphill, and the count remains 2-2.
Yeah, we know all about Chandler Dare, Haley McClinney. McClinney, of course, one of the better players in Alabama history. Chandler Dare, I mentioned last year in the Minnesota series how, she's not going to win all SEC. She's not going to be an All-American, but she's solid. She gets the job done. Had a lot of big hits in her career.
2-2's high and away. And the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes now to Hemphill as she tries to get a 2-out rally started here in the 4th. Bama trailing it 2-0. Payoff pitch on its way. And Hemphill lines this one to third. Hot shot, and Warren makes the catch for out number 3 as the trend continues of Alabama hitting the ball hard, but right at him. Another Adam ball there to retire the side. Bama Crimson Tide goes down 1-2-3 here in the 4th. We head to the 5th. Bama still trails 2-0 to Florida State here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from their field.
Crimson Tide Fan Cam is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Proud hangout for Bama fans.
We head to the top of the 5th inning, 2-0 Florida State. 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, 2 runners left on for the Seminoles. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 runner left on for the Crimson Tide. And Alabama had an opportunity in the 2nd inning offensively, but other than that, not a whole lot going on for the Tide.
And that's what makes it so frustrating. Only 1 hit for Alabama, but so many quality at-bats against Meghan King.
Anna Shellnut, the catcher, will step in to lead things off for Florida State. Takes the first pitch for a called strike 1 from Madison Preston. Shellnut, Cassis, and Herod due up for the Seminoles, 8-9-1.
I mean, I don't think it's that bold saying, and I'll make this point after this pitch.
The 0-1 is a 3-hopper to short. Booker has it, makes the throw, and there's 1 away.
Good play again by Booker, collecting it, throwing it to Hemphill. But as I was saying, I don't think it's ridiculous to say at all that as a team, Alabama's at-bats have been more quality than Florida State's. A lot of Florida State's at-bats have really played right into the hands of what Patrick Murphy wanted when he started Madison Preston. Just 2 have been really, really good and have resulted in runs. Alabama's had a lot of well-hit quality at-bats against King.
Zoe Cassis, the left fielder, steps in and takes the first pitch for ball 1. Cassis is 0 for 1, grounded out her first time up.
Problem is with Alabama is those hard hit balls are going right to defenders. And not really sure what the fix is, but something has to change in the next 3 innings.
The 1-0 is grounded foul, 1 ball, 1 strike. I'd just like to see Alabama try to string something together in their next plate appearances, opportunities, 5, 6, 7 due up.
And who knows, the Baylor game, like I said, kind of went like this. Alabama didn't really threaten until the 6th.
The 1-1 is grounded foul again down the first baseline. A ball and 2 strikes on Cassis. Junior lefty from Rialto, California. Wind continuing to blow out to left center field. The 1-2 pitch on its way. And that's another ground ball, and Demi Turner makes a stop in the throw from her knees for out number 2. And It's so fun to watch Demi Turner field a softball. She makes the stop, the throw with one motion, perfectly in line and threw out a speedy Cassis from the left-hand batter's box with ease. There was still a step and a half.
Yeah, I mean, it really is impressive to watch her, and it brings back the point I mentioned in the Northern Iowa game, which feels like a day ago. I don't understand why SEC coaches didn't put her in first or second All-SEC in the preseason this year. It's like they forgot she existed.
Timeout called as Reagan Dykes will go out to talk with both Madison Preston, and now Peyton Grantham coming over to have a word as well. 2 outs here, top of the 5th. Alabama trails Florida State 2-0. Looking to get another quick inning against the Seminoles here and go back in and have an opportunity to try to cut into this lead. Doesn't get any easier next week. Alabama travels to UAB on Tuesday night, and then it's a trip out to Seattle, Washington. That pitch, check swing, but it's in there for a called strike. No balls and 1 strike on Herod. Shortstop, 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs.
And she's almost beat out a couple, well, both of them, but Sydney Booker has been really quick with her cat-like reflexes over in short to throw it to first in time.
The 0-1 pitch is in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. That tournament out in Seattle. Next weekend, Friday, it'll be a matchup with BYU and then the homestanding Huskies, who may be #1 in the nation. Saturday, it's Portland State in Washington, and then Sunday, a matchup with Northwestern. Where Alabama will come home for what is already the final non-conference weekend coming up in a couple weekends. The 1-1 is lined in the left center field. That's down for a base hit into the gap all the way to the wall. Brown has it and will throw in to keep Herod to a double. That's a stand-up double to keep the inning alive here in the 5th.
Another one of Preston's curves that was moving left to right that just hung up a little bit, and Herod was able to poke it right in between Alyssa Brown and Gabby Calloway, and well placed. I mean, Herod's an excellent batter. There's a reason her average is near 400. Eventually, she was going to find her way on base.
That will bring up Jessie Warren, the third baseman, 1 for 2. Home run in the 3rd inning, grounded out in the 1st. First pitch on her way, outside for ball 1.
Getting back to the series in Seattle, Tom, I won't be there. You'll be out there alone. I'm sorry I can't accompany you to
I'll try to hold it down.
Upper Washington, but I think realistically Alabama should really aim to split with Washington, and they should win the rest of the other games.
1-0's right in there for a called strike, 1 ball and 1 strike.
I mean, if you can split, I mean, obviously you want to win both against Washington, but that's a very good team. If you split the #1 team in the country potentially, that'd be a win in my book and anybody's book up there, especially playing in Seattle.
The 1-1 pitch is a ground ball through for a base hit. Brown has it and will throw home as the runner will come in to score ahead of the throw. Moving to second on the throw, an RBI single by Jessie Warren. Herod scores, and Florida State now leads at 3-0.
Well, Warren just absolutely driving that one through, but it was hit hard, but I think the weather conditions, especially the fact that the outfield is probably still a little bit wet, slowed that ball down. Alyssa Brown could have fired that one home, but it kind of slowed down, slowed its roll just a little bit as it approached her, and she didn't have a chance to get the timing right to throw home and get the runner.
First pitch to Sydney Sherrill, the second baseman's low and inside for ball 1. Sherrill's 0 for 1. She grounded out in the 1st, walked in the 3rd. Florida State has now added to their lead. It's 3-0, and timeout called. Patrick Murphy will come out to talk with Madison Preston. And now tells the infield not to come out to participate in this conversation. So Patrick Murphy talking one-on-one with Madison Preston. It seemed to be a one-sided conversation.
Yes, a lot of nodding, sometimes with
maybe a
young
yes
freshmen.
sir, maybe a yes sir.
Oh,
in there.
absolutely.
That'd be about it.
You got to be direct with the freshmen. You know, I've got some freshman friends, and sometimes when the freshmen are doing things that aren't necessarily what they should be doing. You've got to tell them, hey, stop that. Get your head together and let's do this. And I'm sure Patrick Murphy had a somewhat similar conversation with Madison Preston. She's pitched a good game, but she's got to keep it together here.
The 1-0 is a ground ball to second. Demi Turner has it, makes the shuffle pass over for out number 3. And once again, we've seen it. It's been a theme. Whenever there is a meeting in the circle with a coach, it seems to really help both these young pitchers, both Courtney Geddens, the junior college transfer, and the freshman Madison Preston. But Florida State does get another run across here in the 5th inning. They get a run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We move to the bottom of the 5th inning as we stretch here in Tuscaloosa. Alabama trails Florida State 3-0 here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. We head to the home half of the 5th inning. Alabama trails Florida State 3-0. 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors. 3 runners left on base for Alabama. No runs on a hit, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base. 1 change in the field for Florida State. Sees a new left fielder in the ball game. His first pitch to Kylee Tow's in there for a called strike 1. Morgan will head out to play left field, replacing Zoe Cassis. That ball misses. 1 ball, 1 strike on Kylee Tow. Danny Morgan, sophomore from Noonan, Georgia, your new left fielder. Everything else remains the same. The 1-1 to Tow is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. So Morgan in left, Claveman in center, Rosario in right, Warren at third, Harrod at short, Sherrill at second, Gordon at first, and Shellnut behind the plate. 2-1 to Tow. Inside, 3 balls and 1 strike. Tow grounded out her first time up.
But it was another hard hit ball. I mean, eventually, one of these is going to find the grass and start a rally for Alabama.
3-1 is on the outside corner. Tow thought she might have drawn the leadoff walk, but that hits the outside edge, according to Greg Muir. And the count is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Payoff pitch on its way, and Tow grounds it to short. Slow roller. The throw will be just in time from Harrod for out number 1.
Well, Tow tried to motor her way down to first to beat it out, and Harrod playing with fire a little bit. She's playing deep too, but she didn't move to try and come get it. She let the ball come to her. Almost cost Florida State, but able to get it to first just in time.
That will bring up Claire Jenkins. She popped out her first time up. First pitch is low for ball 1 as Megan King has faced just 1 over the minimum, giving up the double to Bailey Hempill, but that's been it base running wise for the Crimson Tide. King was part of a perfect game thrown by Florida State in game number 1 of the Easton Bama Bash against Northern Iowa. That ball's in there for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike now on Jenkins.
Claire's been so good the last couple weeks. Had a good outing earlier today. Found ways to get on base. Could use a rally starting hit right now.
1-1's outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. And this game has really been very similar to game number 1 between Alabama and Florida State, just with the 2 teams flipped.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing just a minute ago, looking at the box score from last night. Florida State had some chances too.
2-1 to Jenkins is in there for a called strike on a check swing. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You had Alabama in that game scoring single runs in 3 different innings, which we've seen Florida State do as well. Alexis Osorio held the Seminoles to just 3 hits. Alabama being held to 1 right now.
I mean, you can see why Meghan King is an All-American candidate.
That ball is flown out to left field and foul ground. Ranging over is Morgan, and she will make the catch for out number 2.
Well, Jenkins just pulled it and got a bit too far under it, and that's why that was a pretty easy play for Danny Morgan. And again, you come back to the note of wasting outs, and I don't want to put a negative connotation on it, but softball games are only so long. And now Alabama only has 7 outs to play with. They need to get something started soon.
Gabby Calloway steps in and fouls the first pitch straight back for strike 1. Calloway 0 for 1. She fouled out her first time up.
Again, I do want to commend the crowd. They've been real troopers today. A lot of them showing up when I arrived around noon. And a good portion of the people that were here then are still here.
0-1's in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. Florida State leads 3-0. Bama just looking to get something started. And just the 1 hit. That was about a foot away from being a home run. The 1-1 is a blooper pass to shortstop into left field for a base hit. And Gabby Calloway gets a 2-out base hit, the second hit of the game for the Crimson Tide. Let's see if that gets something started here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well, that's one of the few contact hits by Alabama that hasn't been solid, but of course, it's one of the 2 hits that Alabama's able to get. Gabby Calloway basically poking that one right over the shortstop's head. The left fielder, Morgan, was playing far back because of Gabby Calloway's power. There was no chance that was going to be caught, and now we'll see if Reagan Dykes can get something going here. You just need to string together hits. You got the 1, but you need 2 now.
First pitch to Reagan Dykes is in the dirt for ball 1. Dykes rounded out her first time up. Just the 2nd inning now that Alabama has not been retired in order. And a big hit here, and the game could totally change. The 1-0 hits the outside corner for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that ball to strike ratio from King continues to be tremendous. 49 strikes out of the 71 pitches thrown. The 1-1, line foul. Well hit ball there, and that ball got caught up amongst the spectators off the Alabama bullpen, including those 4 former Bama players, softball alumni that I mentioned earlier.
It does appear. I don't see any purple down there, so I think Jaden's changed her shirt.
That's good. The 1-2 is high, and the count is even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Reagan Dykes had such a good night last night after being so quiet the first couple weeks. See if she can get that timing right.
2-2, Dykes takes that one high, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with Sydney Booker in the on-deck circle.
Got to credit Meghan King. I haven't seen a pitcher this efficient in a long time. A lot of 1-2 counts tonight. No free passes given up. She has been a machine in the circle for FSU.
Payoff pitch on its way, comes in, and that hits Reagan. I think it got her right on the right hand.
My goodness.
It came in high and tight. I was worried when it first did. It might have hit her in the face, but she will walk down to first now with Allison Habits talking with her, refusing to rub it. But she took one off the right hand, and that's obviously not what you want to see. She continues to walk and just kind of, it's one of those where it's like, just give me a minute, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get the feeling back in.
It looked like Reagan Dykes was about to live out the phrase, take it on the chin. King with a lot of velocity on that pitch coming in, and I actually thought it was about to hit Reagan in the neck. That's why I gasped. Those are the scary ones. You don't want anything in the jaw or neck area, and now the trainer coming out to talk to Reagan Dykes, make sure everything's okay. They're checking on her hand.
Yeah, that's where it ended up hitting her, on a kind of a check swing. Was kind of a defensive swing there a little bit before that ball hit it. And Erin Cohen, the athletic trainer in her 6th season with the Alabama softball program, is going out, and Reagan Dykes is in a lot of pain.
And you hope it's not too serious, both for Reagan personally, but also, you know, she's a righty, and and she's a catcher, and her biggest weapon is throwing people out when they're trying to steal. You don't want there to be any possible issues with this hand.
And you can tell when Erin is kind of moving around and checking out the bones there in the right hand for Reagan Dykes. It is excruciating pain for Reagan. So at this point, you're just hoping for just be a bruise. A lot of small bones in that hand, and looks like that's going to be the end of the day for Reagan Dykes, as she will walk off, getting a standing ovation from this Bama crowd. They will take her in for further evaluation.
Certainly hate to see that. I mean,
it's so frustrating just when you get healthy with Demi Turner and Sydney Booker back, everybody rolling, and then you take one like that. And like I say, hopefully it's just one of those that's you can get some ice on it, keep the swelling down, and
it looks like Kerrigan Fain will come in and place Reagan Dykes.
So she will catch for Reagan, and they're going to go ahead, and with 2 outs and runners on first and second, not going to waste a pinch runner in this situation. So just go ahead and put Fain out there. She will replace Reagan Dykes behind the plate. And now Sydney Booker at the plate. Runners on first and second, 2 out. And the first pitch, high and tight again for ball 1. And King kind of stomps away a little bit as she's kind of lost control of her pitches all of a sudden.
Well, Alabama's got to respond. You see your teammate walking off the field with an apparent injury. It can shock you a little bit.
1-0 to Booker is in there for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sydney Booker is 0 for 1. She flew out her first time up.
And the outfielder's moving up just a little bit after that pitch.
That ball is a fly ball to shallow left. That will fall for a base hit and get past the diving left fielder. Kerrigan Fain trying to stretch it out to the third and is tagged out with a throw coming in. Coming in to score is Gabby Calloway on the RBI signal by Sydney Booker. And a nice job of backing up Morgan was Claveman, throwing in and getting the out at third for out number 3. So Alabama does get a run across, but unfortunately has the third out of the inning out at third to end the 5th. So Alabama gets 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We played 5. Alabama's on the board, but Florida State still leads it 3-1 here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Would you rather have ice cream for life or free cake for life? It's from the video board. Let's see what the softball team said.
Ice cream. Free ice cream. Free cake. Ice cream. Free ice cream.
Congratulations, Madison. You're a winner. You're going home with a gift card to Sloan House. Thanks for playing Would You Rather. Here's some scores from round of SEC presented by Pets. Top of the 5th, Florida 2, Iowa State nothing. Top of the 3rd, San Jose State 2, Mississippi State nothing. Bottom of the 3rd, UCLA 2, LSU nothing. And the bottom of the 2nd, Missouri 1, the Team nothing. Your SEC softball scores presented by Dex.
We move to the top of the 6th inning. Florida State with a 3-1 lead over Alabama. For the Seminoles, 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on. For the Crimson Tide, a run on 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on. A different change out in the field than what we were thinking was going to happen. Bailey Hemphill goes in to catch for Reagan Dykes, and Kerrigan Fain will now play first base for Bailey Hemphill. So the defensive alignment, Callaway in left, Brown in center, Tao in right, Grantham at third, Sydney Booker at short, Turner at second, Fain now at first, and Bailey Hemphill behind the plate, catching Madison Preston, who in general has pitched well today, giving up the 5 hits and 3 runs, 2 solo home runs, and then the back-to-back double and single combination in the 5th inning. 77 pitches, 47 strikes. She's induced mostly ground outs, which you would expect from her. Just the 1 strikeout and 1 walk. She's given you what you need. Just unfortunately, the offense hasn't responded for Alabama. The first pitch to Carson Gordon is in there for a called strike.
Yeah, I think this is about what we were expecting from Madison Preston. We didn't think the 0.00 ERA would remain intact after this game. We knew Florida State would probably get some hits, string together a couple runs. So Preston has done really well.
The 0-1's low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And remember, this is her first time playing against a quality team, playing at home on a big stage. This is good for her. She's going to learn from tonight, win or lose. It's going to really help her down the road for this season and the rest of her career.
The 1-1 is low and outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. I would say, if anything else, you have probably answered the question of can you trust Madison Preston in these big games if she is asked to go out there on Saturdays in the SEC. I think she's going to fare well. The 2-1 is in there for a called strike. At the count is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, and you're right, Tom, because Patrick Murphy, I mean, we know who Friday and Sunday will be. It's Alexis Osorio, but you've got 3 games in these conference series against some really good competition. You've got to put a pitcher out there that you know will be as effective as anyone, and Madison Preston tonight has had a pretty darn good addition to her tryout list.
The 2-2 is grounded to deep third. Grantham has to make the long throw, and that arm that we talked about all game long last ball game shown off again by Peyton Grantham to get the out. There's 1 away.
Excellent throw by Peyton Grantham, but I'm actually more impressed with the stretch and catch by Kerrigan Fain. I've never seen her play first. I didn't know she could reach out that far and make that kind of play. Really well done by both players, and a key first out here in this top of the 6th.
First pitch now on its way to Cassie Davis. That's fouled off down the third baseline. No balls and 1 strike to designated player. She's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out so far today.
And if you're Alabama, you obviously don't want Florida State to score in this inning, but you want to get through it quickly because due up in the next, you've got the top of the order, Alyssa Brown, Demi Turner, Peyton Grantham, probably your 3 biggest offensive weapons this year.
The 0-1 is low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I mean, again, we talked about it to start off this inning. Madison Preston's done really well, but the offense hasn't been able to pick up where she's fallen a bit. Still 2 more chances to do so.
1-1's in the dirt, 2 balls and 1 strike, and you're hoping maybe the 3rd time through the order is the charm for this Alabama offense, but imperative that Madison Preston keeps the Seminoles where they are. Tide got their first run of the ball game back last inning. The 2-1 is in the dirt, 3 balls and 1 strike now on Davis. Timeout called. Bailey Hemphill will go out to talk quickly one-on-one with Preston.
And there really aren't any other options for Alabama in the circle. Courtney Gettins over 100 pitches today against Northern Iowa. Patrick Murphy has said he really doesn't want Lexi to have to pitch 2 days in a row unless she absolutely has to. So Madison, I mean, the game's on her.
3-1 count now on Davis. The pitch is low for ball 4. So the second walk of the ball game issued by Preston coming here in the 6th inning, giving the Seminoles a base runner. And Morgan Claveman stepping to the plate. 1 for 2 with a single in the 2nd and a ground out in the 4th.
Probably a safe bet that we'll see Claveman lay down a sacrifice here, so the defense needs to be ready. This will also be a good test for Fain over at first. We've already seen her make a stretch. How will she do with a sacrifice bunt, most likely upcoming from Claveman?
Deja Bush, the redshirt sophomore, will pinch run at first base for Davis. So this could be another.
Actually, kind of surprised Fain is playing as far back as she is.
Yeah. First pitch coming in, and that will be a hit and run. Unable to make contact, and Bush is thrown out stealing by Bailey Hemphill, and she is fired up. Bailey Hemphill guns out another would-be base stealer, and it doesn't matter who's behind the plate right now for Alabama. You don't want to run on them.
So Bailey Hemphill has caught 2 people stealing in her Alabama catching career this year, and they might be the 2 prettiest throws I've ever seen. I mean, hey, she's telling Reagan Dykes, anything you can do, I can do better. What a throw.
The 0-1 to Claveman is low. 1 ball, 1 strike, and that one, it was a swing by Claveman, but it looked like she wasn't really even trying to make contact with it.
I thought the call was weird. I mean, you've got a small ball player. Why get cute? Just lay down the sack bunt.
Unable to make contact with that bunt. She squared around to bunt and then made a slap in motion with the bat.
I'm not sure Claveman knows what's going on at all.
Claveman is completely out of sorts right now. It's a good opportunity here for Preston to capitalize on that, get out of the inning. The 1-2 pitch, fouled off, barely got a piece on a check swing. We'll do it again, 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 outs, top 6. Alabama trails Florida State 3-1. Nobody on after the caught stealing. Stasia Brown, as the pinch runner, comes in, takes off on the first pitch, and is hosed by Bailey Hemphill. The 1-2 in the dirt, or not quite in the dirt, but too low and inside, and the count is even up. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's really marvelous how many spectacular throws we've seen from behind the plate to second to catch people stealing. Not many teams have 1 player that can do that. Alabama has 2.
The 2-2 pitch, that one is in the dirt, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the entire infield coming in. A quick word, Demi Turner one-on-one quickly with Madison Preston.
Well, you don't want Claveman on base, obviously.
Right.
She's too dangerous. She's so fast. You want to get out of this inning, give your team a chance to supply the runs and supply the comeback.
Payoff pitch, swing and a miss. Strike 3. Huge strikeout there by Madison Preston, getting Claveman and retiring the side for Florida State in the top half of the 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left. We move to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's Florida State 3, Alabama 1, but the top of the order due up for the Crimson Tide. Up next here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. T-shirt time here in Tuscaloosa as Alabama trails Florida State 3-1 as we move to the bottom of the 6th. Top of the order due up for the Crimson Tide. Brown, Turner, and Grantham. Facing Meghan King in the circle for the Seminoles of Florida State. King so far in those 5 innings. First pitch to Brown. Pulls back the bunt, takes a called strike 1. 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned. No walks and no strikeouts. That was the 80th pitch, the 53rd strike thrown by King so far here this evening. Brown takes that one again for another called strike. No balls and 2 strikes. And that's one issue in Alyssa Brown's game. Still working on doing a good job of recognizing the balls and strikes.
Yeah, and got a swing too.
Yeah, the 0-2 is grounded to third. Warren has it and will make the throw over in time for out number 1. And Brown, today, if anything, she's hit the ball a little bit too hard.
Yeah. I mean, and that's not something you normally say about Alyssa Brown. but that time making it really easy for the third baseman Warren to slide over and make a throw to first. And as fast as Alyssa is, she's not going to be able to beat out a throw when the third baseman is moving in stride in the direction of first.
So that will bring up Demi Turner. First pitch to Turner. Low and away for ball one.
Alabama is 2 for 6 with 2 outs in this game. So certainly getting the lead runner out. No.
1-0 is low. 2 balls and no strikes. The senior from Huntsville, Texas.
Yeah, no indication losing the lead runner that a rally can't happen here. Alabama in game 1, pretty effective as well with 2 outs, going 7 of 11 against Northern Iowa.
2-0 is low. 3 balls and no strikes. And Demi Turner looking to get on base any way she can, with Peyton Grantham on her senior day in the on-deck circle. The 3-0 hits the outside corner for a called strike. 3 balls and 1 strike now on Demi.
Boy, Megan King is such an expert marksman. I don't know how she's able to put it in these specific locations. That one right in the upper corner.
The 3-1 is fouled back. And the count is full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I mean, Demi Turner has worn her emotions on her sleeve today. She's been frustrated multiple times by King because she knows she's reading the pitches. She just hasn't been able to get a hold of one quite yet.
The 3-2 is fouled back, and Turner right on it is fouled 2 straight back. Battling with King here. Another payoff pitch on its way, and Turner again fouls it off. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. If both these players stay healthy throughout the rest of the year, we could be looking at a All-American versus All-American matchup right here.
Well, certainly. I mean, King's going to be on that list. She's going to, I mean, Florida State will be in the mix for a College World Series, and Turner should be.
Payoff pitch, and Turner swings at what would have been ball 4, gets a piece of it to stay alive at 3-2, but frustrated with herself again for being fooled by that pitch. But got a piece of it.
I mean, Demi Turner is one of the biggest competitors I've ever seen in any athletic arena. Nothing is boiling her blood more than the fact that she hasn't been able to get one of these King pitches and rope it out to right field like some of the others she's hit this weekend. And she's been close. But I think that last pitch, letting the moment kind of get to her head a little bit and letting the competitive edge lead to a bad swing.
Another 3-2 is lined to center field. Claveman will range back and make the catch for out number 2. Hard hit ball there by Demi Turner, but Claveman was able to go right back and make the catch just a step or 2 in front of the warning track for 2 away.
And a bit too much air under it, too. Would have been pretty easy to get had it been a little bit to the right or left of Claveman. Boy, Demi, I mean, she's not going to be happy about tonight, obviously. She's been so close a couple times, but now it's going to be on Peyton Grantham here in the 6th. Is that Kate Harris out there?
I'm not sure.
Oh, no,
that's the athletic trainer,
yeah.
And the umpire needs some work as his arm, I think on maybe one of those foul balls, maybe the foul ball that Turner fouled off on what would have been ball 4, popped up and hit him in the bicep. Greg Meir behind the plate. So the Alabama training staff, Patrick Murphy, looking at him. It looks like he's going to be okay, going to try to finish off the game. As Peyton Grantham now will step in. Bama trailing it 3-1. 2 outs now in the bottom of the 6th inning. Grantham 0 for 2 with a line out and a fly out. First pitch high for ball 1. Peyton's hit the ball hard, but unfortunately right at people today, which has been kind of the story of the entire ball game offensively for Alabama. The 1-0 is in there for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There are some big gaps out in the outfield, though, especially between the right fielder and the left fielder, Claveman and Rosario.
1-1's outside, 2 balls and 1 strike.
And the wind again helping. Now, any run will do, but you just want to get on base if you're Grantham.
2-1, and Grantham lines it foul, and just getting out of the way of that's the third base umpire, Mike Hensley, and the boys in blue are having the target on him here in this inning.
Always got to keep your head on a swivel.
Yes. And now, count is evened up at 2-2. King looks in, and the pitch. And that one's grounded, and that will get through for a base hit into center field. Grantham rounds first, will stay there as Claveman gets the ball in, clapping as Peyton Grantham gets her first base hit of the ball game. Base hit number 4 for Alabama, and the Tide is starting to get those hits that we were talking about. Now 4 in the ball game, and Bailey Hemphill stepping to the plate. Just who you want in this situation. Looks like Paget Murphy is going to pinch run for Peyton Grantham, and also we will see in the circle Lonni Alameda come out to talk with her entire infield. Rachel Bobo out to run first for the Crimson Tide, and Bailey Hemphill representing the tying run at the plate.
I mean, and how many times have we seen her get oh so close to hitting that first home run of the year?
Now would be a good time.
Yeah, I think we would take it. And having Bobo over on first means anything in the gap gives her a chance to get to third, and depending on what happens, possibly score. I mean, we've been waiting for this kind of moment for Bailey Hemphill this year. She hasn't really had to step up in a big game quite yet, but she's turned it around this weekend, and especially today after a slow start last weekend in Hattiesburg. Now would be a great time to fully be back.
Yes. Had 4 RBIs against Northern Iowa in game number 1 today. A double earlier in this ball game, and the first pitch to Hemphill is popped straight up on the infield. Third baseman Warren will call everyone off and make the catch in the circle for out number 3. Hemphill, I think, got the pitch she wanted, but just got under it and popped her straight up. And Florida State is out of the inning here in the bottom of the 6th. For the Crimson Tide, no runs on a hit, no errors. 1 runner left on base. We move to the top of the 7th inning. Florida State 3, Alabama 1 here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. We head to the 7th inning. Florida State with a 3-1 lead over Alabama. The Seminoles looking for some insurance, and I think right now, imperative for Madison Preston, don't let Florida State turn the lineup over. Try to get a 1-2-3 inning with 7, 8, 9 due up for the Seminoles. Before we get to that, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Due up for Florida State, Karina Rosario getting her first at-bat of the ball game. Got a couple at-bats yesterday against Alabama and was 0 for 2 with a strikeout. First pitch to the lefty is grounded to first, where Kerrigan Fain will make the step on the bag, and there's one away.
Well,
one pitch,
Madison
one out.
Preston getting what she needed immediately to start this 7th inning. Rosario coming in, had a bad night last night, fanned at a Osorio strikeout, and that time eager to go after Preston, seeing a pitcher she could get contact on, but hitting it right to Kerrigan Fain for the easy out.
That will bring up the catcher and a shell nut. First pitch to her is in there for a called strike one.
I mean, if you're Alabama, this is a part of the Florida State lineup you're really excited to see here in the 7th inning. But like you said, Tom, you do not want to turn this over. Harrod is 1 for 3 today. Warren's 2 for 3. Cannot give them a chance to come to the plate again.
That ball's grounded to deep third. Grantham has it, makes the long throw over. And once again, what could have been a very close play because of the arm of Peyton Grantham gets her by a step, and there's quickly 2 gone.
And again, it's smart and strategic play by Alabama. Grantham playing so deep because she knows that sometimes the contact coming off these Florida State bats when Preston pitches is going to have some speed on it. Gives her a chance to collect herself, get the ball, and make a good throw.
Danny Morgan getting her first at-bat of the ball game. Takes the pitch outside on a check swing. She did not go for ball 1. Morgan came in as a defensive replacement a couple innings ago for Zoe Cassis in left, batting 188 on the year, 6 of 32 with 7 runs scored. The 1-0 outside, 2 balls and no strikes. 6 RBIs, double and a triple on the year for Morgan. Did not play last night against Alabama. The 1-0, that's right in there for a called strike. Excuse me, that was a 2-0 pitch, so 2 balls and 1 strike now on Morgan.
Good pop there by Preston. Showing 60 on the scoreboard. I bet it was a little bit faster than that, though.
2-1 is again grounded to third. Grantham has it, will make the throw in time. And just like we said needed to happen, Madison Preston gets a quick 1-2-3 inning in the top half of the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors for Florida State. We move to the bottom of the 7th, and the last chance for the Crimson Tide is Florida State 3, Alabama 1 here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Alabama looking to rally as Florida State leads the Crimson Tide 3-1. 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors. 3 runners left on for the Seminoles. A run on 4 hits, 1 error. 3 runners left on for the Tide. Due up for Alabama here in the 7th. 5, 6, 7, Tao, Jenkins, and Callaway facing Megan King in the circle. And the first pitch on its way hits the outside corner for a called strike 1. Bama just looking for base runners here.
Yep. Doesn't matter how you do it, just get somebody on base. Give yourself a chance.
The 0-1. Tao again takes it, same basic spot, same result. No balls and 2 strikes now for Tao. Tough spot for the freshman, but the 0-2. A little too far outside this time. 1 ball, 2 strike.
Wow, that looked right on the money.
Close take there.
I don't know. Whew. I don't know how Tao held off on that one.
The 1-2 as King works quickly, and that's fouled off. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Ooh. There are going to be a lot of games like this year, Tom.
Yeah.
With the SEC as good as it is and Alabama's non-conference schedule.
1-2 is low, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And this is a great learning experience for freshmen like Madison Preston, like Kylee Tao. The moment will just get bigger as the season goes on. They're learning how to handle the stage right now.
2-2. Tao takes that one again low. 3 balls and 2 strikes as Tao works back to fill the count after falling down 0-2 in the count. And offense has got to do something for Alabama here. If you'd have told Patrick Murphy before the game that Madison Preston would only give up 3 runs, I think he'd take it. Payoff pitch. Tao fouls it off and stays alive. 3 balls and 2 strikes. I'd say if you told Patrick Murphy before the game 7 innings, 3 runs by Madison Preston against Florida State, I think that's a heck of a performance.
She's performed beautifully in the circle, but the offense has to do something. Starts with the first person. Tao's had a good at-bat.
Another 3-2 is again fouled off as Tao continues to fight. And a very energized Alabama dugout as well, hanging on every pitch.
I mean, what a battle. The freshman Tao, the redshirt junior Meghan King, experience versus youth.
Payoff pitch is high to Tao, and she draws the leadoff walk, putting the tying run coming to the plate in the form of Claire Jenkins with nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Those young kids, they know what they're doing.
Kids these days.
Kylee Tao, what an at-bat. I mean, that was 0-2. It was 3 straight takes, and I honestly still think that third pitch was a strike, but she battled, she fouled off, she continued to take the pitches well out of his zone. That is a smart at-bat by a young player.
That brings up Claire Jenkins. The first pitch on a check swing is fouled off as Jenkins did not want to swing at that at all, but it came too far inside. Jenkins got a piece of it. No balls and 1 strike now on the sophomore from Coleman, who's 0 for 2, popped out in the 2nd, fouled out in the 5th.
But remember, she was 0 for 2 in the Baylor game, had a big hit in the 7th inning of that contest.
The 0-1, and Jenkins lays down a perfect bunt. No one's on first to get the cover. No, an out called at first. Whoa, my goodness. First base umpire Steve Gold punching out Claire Jenkins at first, and I think he missed it.
Wow, that was as close as it gets. And they're not showing the replay on the big board, which usually is a sign that it's not a call Alabama fans would like. Gosh, and all right, that was brilliant, right?
Just a perfect and a perfectly placed bunt down the first base line.
Well executed.
And the second baseman Cheryl was a step slow covering first base, and the throw over from Gordon gets the out call.
Man, you will not see Claire Jenkins lay down a better bunt anytime, anywhere than she just did there.
And that will go down as a sacrifice, but my goodness.
Oh, man.
And now Tao replaced at second by KB Sides.
I still do love the call. I love the gameplay. I mean, everything about that situation should have worked. It really should have.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like that Alabama's taking risks. They're being different.
Gabby Calloway will step in now. 1 out with a runner on second. Calloway singled and scored the lone Alabama run back in the 5th inning. Fouled out in the 2nd. First pitch is fouled straight back for strike 1.
Interesting, considering her last hit that was a blooper.
Yeah.
The shortstop Harrod has taken a few steps up, but the third baseman Warren still playing kind of deep. I think Florida State hoping if we have Alabama has a similar hit like that, Warren will be the one that can range back and catch it.
The 0-1. Callaway takes it high and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And we do know KB Sides has speed. Anything in the outfield, especially considering how deep the outfielders are playing right now, that'll score.
The outfield is playing basically all 3 of them a step up front of the warning track. The 1-1 is swung on and missed. They'll throw back behind. Sides at second. She's back in time. That was a close play. A ball and 2 strikes now on Callaway.
It's never going to be easy.
No.
KB Sides, nice job looking alive, sliding back. Gabby Calloway's got to be smart here.
Here comes the 1-2. And that ball is lifted to left underneath it, and making the catch is Morgan for out number 2. And Bama now down to their final at bat. The final out, I should say. Hopefully not the final at bat. And it's going to come in the form of the senior, Kerrigan Fain. Crash entered the ball game, replacing Reagan Dykes, who took a pitch off her hand.
And Fane, of course, the MVP of last year's Easton Bama Bash.
First pitch comes in, and that hits Fane in the same exact spot. She will go down, and she is holding her right hand. My goodness.
Now again, this isn't intentional by any means by Meghan King, but that's a unfortunate stroke of irony that Dykes gets hit in her hand, and then Fane, who comes in place of Dykes, gets hit literally in the exact same spot. Cannot express how close those two spots were, but Fane, she got hurt, but she's on base. And so now Sydney Booker is going to be the one who's got an opportunity.
And we are going to see a pinch runner for Fane at first, which means she will have to come out of the game. As it's going to be Maris Schroeder running at first. So if Alabama just ties the game up and the game goes to the next inning, I'd assume that would mean you'll see Caroline Hardy come out to play first base since Kerrigan Fane can't re-enter the ball game.
I mean, the crowd is into it here. This is the loudest they've been all day. I mean, it's been a long day, Tom. We've been in this ballpark for a long time. These fans have been here as long as we have. They want to see something good happen before they drive home into the night here in Tuscaloosa. And can Sydney Booker be the one that delivers the gift to these Tide fans who have waited all day for this game?
First pitch to Booker hits the outside corner for a called strike one. Booker 1 for 2 on the day, had the RBI single in the 5th and a fly out in the 3rd. The 0-1, same pitch, same result. The count moves to no balls and 2 strikes on Booker quickly.
Everybody yelling words of encouragement to Booker. Same exact thing happened to Kylee Tao earlier in this inning.
The 0-2, and Booker lines it right back, and it hits King in the foot, and she can't find it. Bases are now loaded. Not an RBI, but an infield single for Sydney Booker has loaded the bases. Now with Alyssa Brown at the plate, we'll see if she stays in. I think no. Patrick Murphy is going to pinch hit for Alyssa Brown. We'll see who pops her head out of the dugout. You have Maris Schroeder on second, KB Sides on third, Sydney Booker at first, and Caroline Hardy will be your pinch hitter.
Whoa, my goodness. All right, we'll start with the hit. Meghan King, I hope she's okay because that was well hit by Booker. It actually could have ended the game, but King couldn't find the ball, and Booker was able to get over to first in time. So the bases are loaded, 2 outs. This is a smart move, taking Alyssa Brown out. She hasn't really been on her game today. She's hit a couple balls too hard.
And it's an RBI producing opportunity. Caroline Hardy is much more suited to that than Alyssa Brown.
Absolutely, and nobody's played better the last 2 weeks other than maybe Claire Jenkins and Peyton Grantham than Caroline Hardy. Previously last night, coming into the day, 3rd in the SEC in on-base percentage. I believe, 4th in slugging percentage. Big chance.
Hardy steps in. The first pitch is high and inside for ball 1.
And it's also helpful that she's got the best eye on the team.
Yep.
So she's going to see these King pitches coming in, and a walk scores a run, and then you've got Demi Turner at the plate. A win-win for Patrick Murphy.
The 1-0, Hardy takes that one for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. KB Sides on third. The tying run is Maris Schroeder on second. Sydney Booker would be the winning run. She's on first.
Boy, people across America, whether they're listening or watching, you're getting a treat tonight.
The 1-1, Hardy takes it inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Alabama trails at 3-1. But this Tide team does not go down easily.
No, I love the fight, and we've seen the fight all year long. Yeah, we're early in the season, but it's been there every game.
The 2-1, Hardy will bloop it in foul ground on the first base side. Over her shoulder, making the catch is the first baseman Gordon for out number 3. Alabama gives us all a thrill there in the 7th inning, but Hardy just kind of mishits it there. Pops it up in foul ground, and a nice play by the first baseman, Gordon, finishes off the ball game for the Crimson Tide. Tough way to lose it.
That's tough. And Alabama had a chance. Caroline Hardy at the plate. She looked really strong those first couple pitches, letting the obvious balls come in, and that time getting a little jammed. I think, we saw a couple pitches come in high and tight. I think she thought that one wasn't going to be as tight as it was, and tried to swing at it, instead jamming it off her wrist. Always tough to lose that way, but I bring it up again. I feel really good after this loss. There were a lot of times last year where after losses, it wouldn't feel positive. This feels positive. We saw a really strong performance from Madison Preston tonight. And Alabama's offense, sure, it took a while to get going, but they fought and it got going. And eventually, those late runs, when they're down and have to make a comeback, they'll come.
So for the Florida State Seminoles in the win, 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors. 3 runners left on for Alabama in the loss. 1 run on 5 hits, 1 error, and 6 runners left on base. With the win, the win, Florida State improves to 11-4 on the year. Alabama falls to 9-2. Taking the victory is Megan King. She improves to 6-2 on the year. Madison Preston suffers her first loss as a member of the Crimson Tide. She's now 3-1, but as you mentioned, pitched well against a very good Florida State team. And Alabama splits with the Seminoles, a top 10 team. As you mentioned, if Alabama can get the split with Washington in the same situation basically Florida State's in coming to Tuscaloosa next weekend, I think Alabama's in very good shape moving forward here in pre-conference play.
Well, they certainly shouldn't drop in the polls once they're announced, and obviously we've got another game tomorrow, hopefully weather permitting. But Alabama, nothing to hang their hat on splitting with Florida, or nothing to hang their head about, rather. Definitely hang your hat on splitting with Florida State. And keep in mind, these Noles also lost to South Alabama and McNeese. So come Tuesday morning, Alabama should be ranked ahead of Florida State.
Right.
If they're not, that's an injustice done by the people voting in those polls. This is an Alabama team that will move up in the polls come Tuesday. And again, a tough loss tonight, but I feel really good. And there weren't many times last year where after losses I felt really, really positive.
So we'll take a timeout, come back with more of the Regions Bank postgame wrap-up. Alabama ends up splitting a pair with Florida State over 2 days and splits their games here in day number 2 of the Easton Bama Bash. A win over Northern Iowa earlier today, 11-3, and they drop a 3-1 decision to the Seminoles of Florida State here in game number 2. So back in a moment with more here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.